Hi there. It's June the 24th, and in today's readings in 2 Kings, we're looking at the character of Elisha and the stories of his miracles. At the beginning of chapter 6, and we're reading chapter 6 and 7, at the beginning of chapter 6, the prophets decide that they're going to move and go where there's more space. And so they go down to the River Jordan and they cut down wood, and they want to make a new place for themselves. But actually, in the cutting down of the trees, one of them loses a borrowed axe head that falls in the water. And Elisha, out of compassion, puts in a piece of wood, and miraculously the axe head floats so that the prophet gets his axe back. This is just a sign of compassion of God in small things on his people. Then we move into the time of the war with Syria. The king of Syria is trying to capture Israel, and he keeps being frustrated because every time he attacks Israel, his plans are known, and he wants to know why. So he assumes that there's a spy in their midst. But one of the Syrians tells him, no, it's not a spy, it's actually the prophet Elisha who is able to see what's going on because God is showing him. So the king of Syria sends his troops to surround the city of Dothan, where Elisha is, and there's a standoff. And Elisha's servant is saying, what are we going to do? We're trapped now. But Elisha says, no, those who are for us are more than those who are against us. And he asks the Lord to open the eyes of his servant as the Syrians are surrounding them, and the servant sees the chariots of God and the horsemen of God. And it's a wonderful deliverance. But there is also another problem, and that is that there's continuing sieging. They do besiege Samaria, where the king is, and in besieging Samaria there's a great famine. But Elisha says, actually there's going to be a deliverance. The king is actually after the life of Elisha, because he says that Elisha is the cause of the famine. But Elisha says, no, there's going to be a relief of the famine, but you're not going to live to see it. And then we move the story to where the camp of Syria, in chapter 7, the camp of Syria is waiting to attack Israel. They've surrounded the city, they besieged it, and actually they hear the sound of troops coming, of an army coming, and they flee in fear. So that 4 lepers who have gone to give themselves up to the Syrians to try and get food find the camp completely empty. And when Israel comes out, they find that the Syrians have actually left and gone away. And all of their clothes and their gear is left strewn about, and they're able to help themselves to it, so that Elisha's word comes true, and there's actually plenty of food in the city, except that the king doesn't live to see it, because in the rush to get out to get the stuff from the Syrians, the people trample the king to death, and so he has a very sticky end. We can see here that God's word can give us insight into things that we wouldn't otherwise know about. And Elisha's great strength is knowing what God is seeing rather than just what our eyes see. We're called to walk by faith and not by sight. And if we continue walking in close to God, He will show us things that we could never know, even by our own human understanding. Have a very good June the 24th.